Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Me and Paul reacting instantly to Everton's 2-2 draw at home with Tottenham Hotspur. I wouldn't say that's what I wouldn't say it's one of the best performances of the season, but it definitely doesn't rival some of the worst. I'd say, Paul. What do you reckon?
It was an improvement, definitely, over the last two games, but the result was what mattered tonight, and we didn't get it. That's the way you've got to look at it, and we'll go into the reasons why we didn't get it. But I would have taken the worst 1-0 shady win ever. We needed to win that game. We haven't won it, and as far as I'm concerned, that's just caused further damage to our already dwindling hopes of getting European football this season. So yeah, I'm not particularly upbeat.
We'll get like the bad things out the way first, I'd say, and then because then we can finish it off a bit happier. But Iwobi was rubbish, wasn't he?
No, rubbish is too nice a word, mate. Mate, he was shocking again. He was even worse than he was against Brighton in that half an hour that he came on. We've got to just wash our hands of him now as quickly as we can. I'm fed up with him, honestly. He's useless. The amount of times he lost the ball, just stupidly trying to go past three players at once, or running down blind alleys, or picking out stupid little.
He hasn't got the ability to do that, Paul. That's the thing.
He thinks he has, though.
He must rate himself incredibly highly.
He's crap.
He must rate himself a lot higher than what he is.
He's crap, and
he's rubbish.
I've completely lost all. I'm trying to think of the word. I'm completely lost all goodwill for him now. I mean, maybe goodwill's not the right word, but I've lost patience. I'm not willing to persevere with him. I'm not willing to persevere with him anymore or give him any more chances. As far as I'm concerned, if he didn't play another minutes until the rest of the season, then that's just.
And when he puts in performances like that, and the funny thing is that's his standard performance. If he plays well, he's overperformed. And then you think, like, who could we ship him off to? And you think, well, you could ship him off to Palace, but he's not going to get in their team ahead of Zaha. He's not going to get in their team ahead of Eze. He's not going to get in the team even ahead of Ayew and players like that. And then when you think maybe we shift him off to Brighton, he's not as good. Doesn't offer as much as Solly March, in my opinion. Even players like that. Brighton going forward, I don't know if he'd fit in. Just teams around that sort of end of the table where I think he thinks that's his level. Well, I think he thinks his level's a lot higher than that. But where teams who probably come in for them, I just don't see. I don't know who he's good enough to play for, because it's been a long time now since he's put in a performance worth talking about. And the last good thing he did was the goal against Wolves. And apart from that, I just do not know what he offers. And I said to the Tottenham lad yesterday, he looks like a centre-back playing out wide. He's built like a centre-half, and he tries to take on players, and he can't do it.
Yeah, I think Carragher made a good point on the commentary when he said, whenever he's on the ball and he's going at the opposition, he's driving forward, you don't have any faith that he's going to beat his man at all.
No.
You just know how it's going to end. You know how it's going to end. He's just going to end up stopping, turning around and looking for an easy pass, or he's going to dawdle on it and end up getting swarmed and losing possession. I've had enough of him. He's crap, and he was an awful bit of business. And I can't fathom what was going through Marcel Brands' head, or whoever it was who signed off on that deal. They've dropped a major clanger, and I don't care if he goes to play for Phil's Chippy FC. Just get rid of him, please. Even if it's just loaning him out somewhere where we cover most of his wages. He's in Sandro territory for me now, where he's so useless. It's not even having him around the training grounds. Just let him go and be someone else's problem, because I'm sick of the sight of him. And I really hope he doesn't play between now and the end of the season, because he doesn't deserve it based on his last few performances, especially.
Do you know what? And also to talk a bit on the defending, I'd call that schoolboy defending, but I've seen schoolboys defend better than that. That we dropped two absolute clangers for their goals. Awful, mate. I mean, do you know when the ball comes in and Mason Holgate missed the header? Is your first thought not to put your laces right through that and put it in the main stand? Because that would be my thought. Why is he trying to head it? It's too low for a header.
We need to. We need to bin off this playing free at the back with wing backs. It doesn't work. It's not worked in any game that we've tried it in, from what I can think of. That's all. It doesn't bring out the best in anyone. It seems like a formation that you play to try and crowbar certain players into the side, and we need to scrap that off because it's not bringing us any success. I can't think of a game we've won when we've tried that. Did we play 3 at the back in the derby?
Yeah, I think we did, but it's just.
Other than that, I can't think of any other occasion where it's worked, or when, or if a player has stuck out as being playing particularly well in that formation. You think, right, well, it doesn't suit this guy, but it suits him, and I can understand why the manager wants to try it. It just Carlos tried it enough now. I hope to God he just bins it off and accepts that it just does not work, and it causes too many problems because the defenders can't cope with it. Keane looks utterly lost, doesn't know where to be.
Unbelievable how bad that. I just look at that like when you think just a bit of competent defending, and we'd have won that game. Like looking at it, it's just unbelievable, and it just fell to the wrong person in the box for if you're an Everton supporter and Harry Kane, because it was an absolutely lethal finish by him. Fantastic goal, but yeah, it was just when the ball goes over Holgate, I'm just thinking, you just scissor kick that into the main stand, don't you? And you don't care where it goes. But when you've got England's number 9 behind you, you don't do that, do you? And he heads it against Holgate, and it just falls to him.
The first one,
you just need a little bit of. You just need a little bit of spatial awareness, don't you? You need to know who's behind you. You need a shout from someone to say, just get it out now. Just get it out. Do not mess about with it. Don't put it anywhere. Don't even keep it in play. Just put it in the stand because that's what it needed.
It's playing free at the back, mate. They don't have any spatial awareness because they can't play in the formation. They're not drilled enough in it. They haven't come up playing it, especially Michael Keane. He's come up through United and then Burnley playing a typical 4 at the back, isn't he? Where defenders look to clear things and get their head on. And crosses coming into the box. He's not used to having to stand 5 yards further to his left or further to his right, because tonight he was in the middle of the 3, wasn't he? So he was basically covering the area around the penalty spot. And he looked like he was caught between he didn't know whether to stay where he was, whether to go to the left, go to the right. And Holgate looked like he was caught in between being a full-back and being a centre-half. And now, normally Holgate plays quite well in a 3 at the back, but tonight he had a disaster just like Keane. The first goal, Keane's misread the header, misread the cross, and he's gone up too early and he's not got a good connection on it. And Holgate was guilty of just ball watching. As you said, he's gone to meet the header himself to clear it, and he's not anticipated that Keane was going to go up for it and try and win it and get the deflection. So Holgate, if he just stands still and anticipates the play, then he, as you said, as soon as the ball skims off Keane's head, it lands at his feet and he just hooks it away. Whereas he's guilty of ball watching. He doesn't know what Keane's going to do in front of him. He's not anticipating that. So he just goes to the ground looking for a low header. When he's completely taken himself out of the equation, and the balls just fell perfectly to Kane. And the second one, it was roles reversed. Holgate's misread the flight of the ball, and Keane's panicked and gone for the header, and he's actually got the connection, and he's not looked anywhere where he's heading it to. He just looks to get his head on the ball instead of focusing on where he wants to clear the ball off, what area to put it. So
it's more foot level than head, though. It's in a better position.
Panic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
the ball.
All it is.
You just need to stay calm there. You just need to go, all right, ball's come over him. Even someone could have shouted that he had time there, because he did have time. He had time to take it down and boot it. He didn't have to get rid of it straight away. There was no one right behind him, no one right in front of him. And as we were talking about Yerry Mina earlier, I don't think Yerry Mina does that.
Mina's had a few clangers himself this season, but the thing is, when he makes mistakes that lead to goals, he gets absolutely annihilated on social media. And Holgate gets quite a bit of stick as well. But a lot of people just don't seem to want to get it rip into Keane as much these days. Maybe it's because he spoke about having mental health problems, I don't know. And I'm certainly not advocating people going on and abusing Michael Keane now. I'm not for that at all. But
no, certainly not.
It annoys me the way certain players get over criticised and some defenders get under criticised when they're both guilty of the same thing essentially. So it's just a massive kick in the balls, isn't it? And it's just proof, as I was saying before, we've got to bin off that three at the back because it just doesn't work. It creates such confusion and such panic among the defenders, and that's our lesson tonight. If ever it gets suggested again, let's play three at the back, three centre backs. Just show them that and say that's why we should never play that.
You know what?
We need to bin it.
Just wrap it up and go again next season. I think that's it. But just take the lessons that we've learned from this season because there's a lot of them. Hello to Erwin Koeman. Hello to James Brinkley. Hello to DJ. Hello to Inky Squid. Taylor Nardon. Who else have we got on the stream? Faz Finisher. John Pez 99. Thank you all for joining the stream. If you're in here and you haven't liked it already, leave it a like. Obviously, me and Paul are turning up on here after a pretty annoying game. Paul's given us a bit of his time to talk about the game, so yeah, a like would be much appreciated. One more just in case you just joined the stream, guys, we're just talking about the bad things before we move on to the good things, because there is good things. But the last bad thing I want to talk about is Josh King, because we were talking earlier about why we think he isn't playing, and he came on and he showed why he isn't playing. All he has to do, and it's similar to Keane in defence, but roles reversed up front. He gets put through. All you've got to do is put your head down and put it near post, and he somehow manages to hit it straight at Lloris.
No, he needed to do better with that chance, but again, I don't think he got long enough to get into the game. When did he come on? The 83rd or the 84th?
Yeah, well, I think he came on like the 82nd, and then the chance was about 85. But
he was on the pitch 10 minutes, if that. I know what you're saying. That chance was, I wouldn't say it was a sitter, but it was a great opportunity. And when you're playing for your future,
Richarlison one afterwards was Richarlison has pretty much an open net there. He just had to keep his head down and guide it in, really. But they've just shown it again. Like, so,
I'm disappointed that neither one of them. That was where we should have won the game, especially Richarlison. But I get what you're saying when Josh King should have done better with the initial chance, because when you're playing for your future the way he is and you're getting so few opportunities, you need to seize moments like that, don't you? But based on what we've seen tonight, I'd be happy if we played him for the rest. We gave him minutes for the rest of the season and we put Iwobi nowhere near the team, because as much as we've slated Keane and we're annoyed at him and Holgate, I thought Iwobi was the worst player on the pitch tonight, honestly.
I think Iwobi's been our worst player for a long time, mate. He's just awful. Do you know what? I'm just looking at it there, and it's just all that second goal needs is the Benny Hill theme tune over it. It's just comical. It's Holgate goes up with his hands in the air like this. Ball goes straight over him.
He's fell off a cliff, him. I've tried to stick up for him a fair bit the last few months. I mean, I've still had in my mind how well he played last season, and the fact he started this season with an injury and he spent most of the season playing out of position. I thought that people were maybe dismissing him a bit much, and that saying, because people obviously were enamoured with Godfrey, weren't they? And Keane's been in mostly good form, and Mina's got his supporters. We're two of them, aren't we? So I felt like people had forgotten about Holgate a little bit when he's still at the makings of a really, really good defender, but he's fell off a cliff last season. He was putting in 8 and
unbelievable
9,
how quick his downfall been, though.
Last season he was putting in 8 out of 10s at least most weeks, and this season it's like he hits 4 or 5 every time we play him. He's gone back to being the player he was for me.
You know, before we loaned him out to West Brom.
He's gone back to being the player he was before we loaned him out to West Brom, where he was a defender who clearly had a bit of ability and had something about him, but he had to learn the basics, and he had to basically be in a team playing consistently at maybe a slightly lower level to just work out his bugs and work out his weaknesses, and then come back a better player. And it worked, didn't it? He came back and was great. When he came, that's last season when he came back from his loan, but he's gone back to being that same player again, where he just makes these stupid clangers and he loses concentration numerous times in a game, and you just can't rely on him to be there for you in a difficult moment. I just don't know what the future holds for him. I really don't.
No, same. Hello to Connor Wilkins and Liveavid as well. Thanks for joining the stream, guys. If you haven't left a like already, leave one of them and get your comments in. Move on to some good things. Seamus Coleman was quite good when he came on, and we've been strong criticised. We've given him a bit of criticism where it's been due, but he came on and set up that goal. It was absolute peach of a goal, our second goal. Really, really liked that one. But I was happy with Coleman, and same with Sigurdsson. Rodriguez showed his class again. Rodriguez was brilliant.
I thought Davis did well too. To be fair,
yeah,
I thought Davis he had a solid, quietly effective game, didn't he? I thought he was. I get why Ancelotti took him off. He was going for it, wasn't he, with Josh King? But I thought Davis was unlucky to be brought off. And I'm not, for once, I can't slag off Sigurdsson because he took both his goals very well, the penalty and the second one. So, but yeah, the only players who were terrible were the two centre halves and Iwobi. Pretty much, I thought everyone had solid 2 good games, and it's just so annoying that we should have won that game. But again, we're our own worst enemy, and certain players have let us down because it's a combination of them not being physically good enough and not being mentally strong enough. As James was saying on the stream the other day when we were talking post Brighton, it's on these players to show that they want to get us into Europe, that they've got the mental strength and the ambition to get into Europe, and they've got the motivation. And it just looks like far too many of them don't have it. And that's why we're going to miss out most probably, because too many of them just don't want it enough, or are not willing to work hard enough for it, or not willing to hold the nerve enough.
I'd like to see that midfield pairing again, though, of Alan and Davies. I think if we're going to, I don't think Gomez gets in that midfield if them two are fit. I would go with that midfield again. Try it again in another game with Gylfi in front, because I think, you know, Davis gets a lot of critics, and obviously so does Sigurdsson, but I thought Sigurdsson played well. The three of them played well, so I think that's probably a positive we can take from the game, is that the tempo was quite quick in the midfield, and with Sigurdsson, who's not a fast player at all, Davis was quite quick on the turn. He sacked deep out. You said before the stream that you wanted to see as well. Alan was good as well. Put a nice performance in, a solid, 7 out of 10, I'd say. And I would go with that again. So I think that's another benefit from tonight that we can take. Connor Wilkins says Coleman's got to start with Godfrey behind. He might not have the endurance, but that's a 60th minute, would he? Rather have Coleman class for 60 minutes than Iwobi for 75. I think you're talking quite a bit of sense there, Connor. I think if Coleman's going to come on and put performances in like that, I'd rather have one good half of Seamus Coleman.
Just don't put Iwobi in the team, full stop now, honestly. As I said earlier on, he's entered the same territory that we had with the likes of Sandro and like Martina. You just think they're so bad, even when we're really down injury-wise.
There's never any faces there. You never think he might be all right today. Even with Sigurdsson and that, even with Sigurdsson, and you're a massive critic of Sigurdsson, Paul, but it even comes to games and you go, do you know what? Sigurdsson played well today. It comes to, you never say that with Iwobi. You never say that with Iwobi.
There are times where I can see it, where I'll do watch games where Sigurdsson's not playing, where I think maybe if we threw Sigurdsson on, that's the right thing to do here. We need a player who can offer what he hopefully can offer. Whereas you put Iwobi on, as you said, and you just know that it's not going to make us better as a team. We're not going to improve with him on the pitch. All we're going to do is just lose the ball and run down blind alleys. I'm sick of him. Honestly,
so am I, mate. Erwin Koeman there with a good comment. Coleman showed Iwobi how it is. He got his head down and ran, seen the chance and got the cross, which is what we were crying out for. We just needed someone to put their head down and put the ball in the area with a bit of pace. And thank God that Coleman came on, because he just injected it straight away. And I think Alex Iwobi can put his head in his hands there and realise that that's what you're meant to do when you're on the wing. And there's all the rubbish about him, playing in the middle, but he's not as good as James Rodriguez. He's not as good as Gylfi Sigurdsson, so he's not going to play in midfield for us. Simple as. If you want to play attacking midfield, go somewhere else. But then again, I can't name a Premier League team to play.
Based on what I've seen over the past 6 months, mate, he's not as good as Anthony Gordon. I said this to James.
No, he's not.
He's not. If you're a player like Gordon, if you're Gordon, or a player who's out on loan, basically, who can't get near the first team and is told that you're going to need to go out and impress somewhere else before we're willing to give you a chance, you'd be looking at the likes of Iwobi thinking, why am I getting palms off to Preston or whatever, having to go and play for some championship team, when he's there at Finch Farm getting on the pitch? He's training every day with the first team. He's getting chose to start in games, and he does nothing consistently. Nothing. He's poor. We get better when he goes off the pitch. I'd be absolutely livid if I was a young player out on loan and I had confidence in my own ability, thinking if I can get in the team and have a little run, I could justify why I'm there. Honestly, I could go on all night just ranting about.
And do you know what's even worse, right? Do you know what's even worse? We were talking about King then, and we were talking about how King missed the absolute sitter and didn't cover himself in glory. But even King's cameo, he did a bit more than Iwobi did, because he actually, he did have a goal.
I think King now deserves to play the rest of the season over Iwobi, honestly, because every time he's brought King on, he's played him off the left, hasn't he? He hasn't played him through the middle. And when he came on tonight, he was still on the left, wasn't he? If you're going to play King as a wide player, then play him as a wide player over Iwobi. He should be above him in the pecking order now, because Iwobi has had far more chances and done absolutely next to nothing with it over the past few months, and has been pretty poor since we signed him overall, or probably even worse than pretty poor, quite rubbish, essentially. So if I'm Josh King, I'd be saying to myself, I deserve a proper crack here. Why is this idiot getting in over me? And I genuinely think the supporters now as well will be looking at it thinking, come on, let's give King a run in the team over this last 6 or 7 games, these final weeks of the season. Let's use King and get a proper look at him, and then we can decide and see for ourselves how good he is or isn't. Because we all know what we're going to get from Iwobi, and it's not very much at all.
Based on ability, he's down there with Fabian Delph for me. He's like, even when you look at players like Josh King is probably better as a winger than him. Anthony Gordon's better as a winger than him. Bernard is better as a winger than him. At least they do things. They might not do everything, but at least you can count on them for a tiny little moment, or at least a sort of run. It's like every single time Iwobi goes forward with the ball, he never seems to do anything right. And that's just so annoying. Comment from Toffee Blues John there. Iwobi started the season all right at right wing back, but as soon as he dropped, if he wants to play in his favoured position in the number 10, does he think he'll beat James or Sigurdsson? That's what I've just said. And as well, John, he's saying that's just at Everton. I mentioned earlier in the stream, is he going to go to another Premier League club and be better than their attacking midfielder? I can't think of a team he'd get into in attacking midfield. I genuinely can't, because he just doesn't offer anything. He just does not offer anything. And he's been like that for most of the season now. His stats there as well make for interesting reading. 61 games for Everton, 4 goals and 4 assists. And 15 and 27 and 149 for Arsenal. That's just shocking, that is shocking.
The assists is nowhere near good enough. The goals, I wouldn't particularly hold him up on. I mean, he should have more than 4, but a player like him should be getting a dozen assists every season. And he's got 4 across 2. Now, so 2 assists a season. He should be getting 6, 7 assists every season easily. He's just, forget him. Get rid of him. I know it's going to be hard to find someone to take him off our hand, as you said, but honestly, just put him in the bin and in the go train on your own list, like we do, like we did to the likes of Blassie and Vlasic and players like that, because he offers nothing.
Inky Squid asking, was he getting West Brom's team? Well, he's not as good as Pereira. He's not as good as Diagne. I'd argue he's probably not even as good as Callum Robinson, who only scores against Chelsea. Based off that, I just don't know if he'd get in a team anyway. And also the fact that we paid the amount of money for him, it's just a disgrace. Finally, before we end, Paul, Tom Peters wants to know, where are we going to finish?
8th.
Yeah, 8th. Someone asked before, would I do a cartwheel if we finish 7th? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. I appreciate it was a bit of a shorter one, but obviously there's not too much to talk about. It's just a run-of-the-mill Everton match, really, and 2-2. I think we're just going to try and forget about it now, and see where we end up. But thank you to Paul for joining me, mate. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your weekend as well. Same with all you guys. Thank you for coming in and joining. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Try and not let Everton ruin it too much, even though we didn't lose. It is a bit annoying, but thank you all for joining. Make sure you leave a like as well before you leave the stream. It does help out the channel. Just click the big thumbs up button underneath the stream. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.